So on the same day, on the day of the secret recording,
Yeah.
he took her out for dinner, and then they went back to his, and they had sex, but she said that the sex was without her consent, or the sexual acts that were performed on her without her consent.
Right. So that's sexual assault then.
Yeah.
So it's that. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What a guy.
I know.
What a guy. So, to protect himself, he took that recording against her will.
Yeah.
So he was already doing something wrong there.
Yeah.
And now she's stating that the acts were without her consent.
Yeah.
So that's sexual assault or rape.
Yeah.
And he just basically handed over all the evidence.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, what a twat.
Like Fire Festival, yeah.
I don't know if we've digressed, but yeah, so you were saying that it almost makes
People be more cautious.
to the point of being too cautious, that they will not make any kind of
real sense in their actions.
Okay. So like you would be scared to chat up a girl in case she said that it was sexual harassment.
Yeah, or in a bar, or go, because I don't want to bring up the story because it happened to one of my friends, so I'm not sure he would be okay with me talking about it.
Okay.
I haven't spoken to him about it.
Okay.
But in a case that happened to one of my friends, there was misconceptions on who he was after a drunken night. And then...
What do you mean, who he was? What he did, or literally who he was?
Literally who he was, like...
So someone didn't know his identity and they needed to know who he was, or...
I don't really want to talk... without speaking to him, I don't really want to go too much into it. But
okay, I'm just trying to understand what the thing was.
After the podcast, I'll go more in depth about it. But
just to make sense for the conversation.
So they were on a night out, and
because this could essentially be anyone. It sounds like
of course,
this kind of story happens all the time.
So they were on a night out, and they were getting on. She was, I think it was a work night out. That's what it was. And they were all drinking. Everyone was getting on. I think he and the guy and the girl must have liked each other, or he was reading the signs that
that she was interested.
That she was interested. Yeah. I think they ended up back at hers, and they were in bed. Nothing had happened, and I think she got up and went to the bathroom and then told him to get out.
Fair enough.
And he left.
Yeah. Cool.
Then she went to the police that night and said she was sexually assaulted by him. But I don't know, because I wasn't there.
Oh, right, okay. So he claims that nothing happened.
Yeah.
But
when she asked him to leave, he left.
Yeah.
But they were both drunk, so...
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on whether it doesn't depend on whether she invited him back. It depends on whether he made any advances without her consent, really.
Yeah.
Because this is another thing. Just because you invite someone back does not mean...
Technically mean...
Well, yeah, technically.
It
just doesn't mean that you're going to do anything. It's not... That is not consent.
No,
inviting someone into your home is not another way of saying, yes, let's have sex, or yes, I'm willing to do X, Y, and Z. And I think a lot of guys unfortunately like to believe or convince themselves that it is an invite. Because there's the connotation of inviting someone back to yours.
Yeah, I guess
means that things are going to happen, but that's not the case, and it's not, and people need to stop.
I guess, yeah.
Thinking that it definitely means something's going to happen.
Of course not, no.
Especially if there's alcohol involved, and then someone does sober up a bit, and
yeah.
But also if you are drunk, then you're not in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Then that affects
everything.
Yeah, and people need to respect and take that into consideration as well. Okay, she's had quite a lot of alcohol, so you know, I might be reading the signs, but actually she might not want to, or in the morning she'll think differently about it. And yeah, if someone is not coherent, then you shouldn't be trying anything anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another angle.
Yeah.
Another angle to the issue.
Yeah.
But we digressed.
Yes, we do. That happens a lot on my podcast. So what do you have?
What do I have?
Yeah.
What do I have to bring
notes
to the table? I know, lots and lots. Yeah, I don't want to dwell on, I can acknowledge that nice guys or guys that don't do things like that might become then very cautious to the point where they don't know if they can chat someone up.
Yeah.
However, I don't think that's the worst
no, of course
issue.
Not.
And if anything, making people more aware of what they say and how they approach people isn't necessarily a bad thing. So I'm not gonna.
No, but I'm just. I can only talk from a male's point of view, and as it's never ever kind of happened to me, or I've never felt like I've been put in that situation. So there's only an extent of what I can kind of talk about. So so I'm more interested to kind of hear what you've got, and then I can form opinions.
Okay, cool. Okay, well.
Questions and shit like that.
I think a huge part of the issue around sexual harassment is the blurred lines that people have liked to dance on for so many years, and now it's like only now really that we're asking for those to be refined, and we're questioning what those clear lines look like. And like I said, I think that documentary is a great example. So for anyone that is unsure, I would highly recommend Is This Sexual Harassment? BBC iPlayer by Ben Zand, who made the documentary after the downfall of, I say downfall but I guess people are still going through trial and everything, so it's not necessarily the downfall. But the Harry Weinstein cases and many other men in high places have come to our attention.
The R. Kelly one, sorry to cut you off, the R. Kelly one was the one that just...
another huge one. And Harry Weinstein's case is apparently... Well, the case has been pushed back, but he's got his pre-trial, I read, on the 8th of March, ironically, which is, if I'm correct, International Women's Day. So I'm sure that will bring about even more... what's the word I'm looking for?
Irony.
Attention.
Attention. Do you think they do these things on purpose? The dates that
I'm
they
not
picked?
sure, but I think it's quite fitting that it's on International Women's Day, and because there will already be many women out there in different ways on that day, and so it will just be bringing even more attention to the case and
it's true.
the fact that it's a prime example of many other things that go on. That's just one case that's come out the woodworks, but there's still so much more hidden in there that needs to come out. And I mean, his case is kind of, well, it's not just it's not sexual harassment alone, it's sexual assault and rape, and all kind of, I guess, stems from these blurred lines, and patriarchy, obviously. But I think nowadays, with the internet, the access we have to so much knowledge, and how the extent to which we're so interconnected, I don't think anyone really has the excuse anymore for, I didn't realise it was sexual harassment, it was just this, it was just that. Like, literally a 10-second Google will give you multiple definitions, and I think
so much information out there.
And I think that's what people need to self-educate. Because the lines are there in the paper, on the wonderful web. So
I literally found it in a couple of seconds. What is sexual harassment?
And it's not like screeds and screeds of information. It's quite easy to understand what the definition is. I found a couple as well on, so rapecrisis.org have a great definition, so does Citizens Advice, legislation.gov on the National Archives. So there's, they all say basically the same thing. Which is, shall we just clarify for the people
what is sexual harassment?
What it is? Let me just find those definitions now.
I've got one here. Sexual harassment is unwanted conduct of a sexual nature.
Mm-hmm.
It has the purpose or effect of violating the dignity of a worker or creating an intimidating, hostile, degrading, humiliating, or offensive environment for them. Sometimes something can still be considered sexual harassment even if the alleged harasser didn't mean for it to be. Also doesn't have to be intentionally directed at a specific person. Experiencing sexual harassment is one of the most difficult situations a worker can face.
A lot of it speaks about the working environment, which is fine and fair enough, because 1 in 3 women who are sexually harassed, that experience is at work. 1 in 3 of those situations will be at work, which is a big factor, but we have to remember, where's the other 2 coming from? The 2 of 3 outside of work. And it's a lot of the time it's every other part of every other aspect of our life. We are at work a lot of the time, but the other 2 out of 3 is when you're just heading to work, or it doesn't even need to be heading home from a night out. You can just be literally walking home from work in broad daylight, or to work at 7 in the morning. I think that side of things seems to get forgotten about, or people aren't sure who to report it to, because if you're at work, you have a boss, you report it to your boss,
and that's why
hopefully they're not male.
Do you know, like when we were having the conversation before, that's why I think it's crazy that the actual idea of sexual harassment isn't an actual law, because it protects you in the workplace. The Equality Act, it protects you in the workplace, or possibly in a school environment as well. But outside of that, who do you tell? Who, you can go to the police, but then how do I show evidence unless I'm writing a diary? But then how can you believe this a diary that I've written? You can